probably thinking, oh my God, like I cannot do this all year. I don't know why I signed up to be a teacher. I'm here to tell.
Hey guys, I'm Deanna, the TRS teacher. I've taught for 14 and a half years, and I have tips to make it less time consuming, less stressful, just overall more fun teaching. And I want to share these tips with all of my teacher friends, especially my first year teachers, second year teachers. Now, I am the TRS teacher here on TikTok. I help teachers understand their retirement accounts, how it works, what they can do to maximize their retirement, to plan for retirement properly. But I also have tips of being in the classroom. I have tips that will make it easier for you to be in the classroom, less stressful, less crazy. So favorite this video so you can come back to it and get some of these tips. Fair warning, this is going to be a long one, and there's probably going to be a part 2. I'm going to use my time up because, as y'all can see, I made a list, because the other day I saw a video of a girl who's a second year teacher. She's crying in her classroom. She's really overwhelmed and upset and frustrated in the video, thinking and saying, like, on the screen it said, why am I here? Why did I do this again? Why am I back? And it just made me sad. It took me back because that was me my first year, and that's been me at different points, right? Doesn't matter how long you've been a teacher. It's so much, so crazy. You have paperwork on a weekly basis that is taller than your students typically, because you have, even if you're a high school, right? A lot of the kids are like really tall now. But yeah, I could easily say that if a teacher's paperwork were to get stacked up high, it would probably be as tall as their high school kids, definitely taller than the little ones and stuff. But anyways, and then there's all these different commitments, all these things we got to do on a daily basis, hourly basis for your classes. It's a lot and it's stressful. But again, I got tips that is going to make it less stressful, less time consuming, and hopefully make you feel a little bit better overall and make you feel happier, which trickles down to your students and everything else, right? Anyways, let me get to the tips, but share this video with your teacher friends and tell me, do you think these tips work? Have you tried them? What has been your experience, especially my veteran teachers? Let's give the new teachers around here some tips in the comments, or feel free to stitch my video. So anyways, and they're in no particular order because I was just making notes, right? So anyways, tip number 1 has to do with grading. This one, not a lot of people like, but I did like doing this. So when you give your kids an assignment, number 1, kind of going into my other videos, number 1, whenever the kids ask you, is this for a grade? Absolutely yes. The answer is never no. Exit tickets, entrance tickets, journals, handouts, projects, reading, whatever, it's all for a grade. What's that gonna do? And don't take the same thing as a grade every single week. Why? Because they're gonna realize only the handouts are for a grade. Journals are never graded. No, take the journals for a grade every now and then. Take the exit tickets, take the entrance tickets, take whatever assignments, whatever activities, whatever you put out there for a grade, and don't tell them, this week I'm going to take this and that for a grade, because then they're going to say, I only need to do this and that as assignment. They're going to misbehave. They're going to go crazy and not do the rest of your anything or pay attention to you other than those 2 things you told them were for a grade. So tip number 1, and going out of order now in my list, but tip number 1, everything is for a grade. Don't take the exact same thing as a grade every single week. Now, I understand sometimes you have to work with the team. You have to have specific things as a grade, but that's okay because you still have a lot of other little things throughout your own class that you can implement and take as grades if you feel you need to. Number 2, okay, this is the part that some teachers maybe don't like to do, but it helps. It helps because you do an assignment, you do a lesson, you do an assignment over the lesson, they turn it in or take it for homework, whatever, you get it back, then you're going to give it back to them and you're going to allow them to grade each other's paperwork. Now, some people are like, oh, they're just going to give each other the check mark. They're not going to like mark it wrong, whatever. So what? Remember, everything is for a grade, but this may not be, but you've got some information in, you're reviewing the information you've already covered, and you're not just going to be like 1A, 2B, 3C. You go through the question, the information, you actually review it with them while you're getting it graded, freeing up your time, giving you something to actually do that's productive during your lesson time, during your school time, keeping them focused and on task. And if you are worried because this assignment actually is going to go in the grade book, you tell them, and you tell them this every time, right? if you're worried that they're going to like give their friends points or whatever, number one, first period grades eighth periods. Eighth periods grades third periods. Third periods grades fifth periods. Whatever. Switch it up. Don't give them their actual homework. Number two, give them a color pencil. Grab a color pencil. We're going to grade. Make them sign at the bottom. Hey, if I happen to see that you gave your friends points or weren't marking the actual questions wrong, which by the way, typically after you grade 3 or 4 at the same time, y'all know this, you can tell. You know what's wrong and what's right when it comes to that. Then tell them you're going to lose 5 points on your paper or 10 points. So you want to give up some of your points to give them to your friend? All right, let's do it. Go for it. Anyways, that is one tip. Allow them to grade each other's stuff, but you're not going to call it grading, right? It may or may not actually go in the grade book. You're going to call it review time. You're going to review what you've already gone over with your kids. That's number one. Number two, a way to keep them on task. I already said this. What's for a grade? Literally everything is for a grade. So never like let them know. Change it up. So that's one thing too. That way they will actually do your assignments. I can't tell y'all how many times my students used to say, oh, we better actually do this because what if she does take it for a grade this time? We better do this. And I had no issues putting 50s on the grade book. Anyways, a time saver for you. And also a trick to keep them on task and keep them thinking, right? How can you outsmart them a little bit? Like, think about it, y'all. This is one thing that always got my kids. They literally thought I was sitting there reading all of their journals all the time. You give a journal on Monday, the following week, or maybe the following week after that, next time you give them a journal, right? Because you do it every single day. You have them write something every single day. Now, the point of that isn't necessarily that you're having them write, that you're going to sit down, read every single journal they're doing. The point of that is you're giving them the opportunity to write. You're giving them the opportunity to be creative within the scope of whatever they're writing. And you're actually helping them get better at grammar and all of that. How do we get better at those things? By practicing. You want to give them that time, that opportunity to practice that skill of writing, which today I feel like is more essential than ever. This is what you're going to do. You hold on to your journal prompts. You're not sitting there and reading them unless you really want to. But I had 189 kids, 150, 140, high school teachers, middle school teachers. You know how that goes. You're not going to sit there and read every single one. But you will pull out Johnny's and Emma's and Timmy's on this given day. And while they're writing, you have the attention of the whole class. Oh, John, I really liked that one specific topic from your journal 2 weeks ago that you said. And Emma, I feel that what you said on that one specific journal 3 days ago, awesome. Tom, or whatever name I said, what you said the other day about blah, blah, specific topics, was really on point. I hope you keep giving me ideas and topics like that. I really hope that you can see and start doing that. This way, the whole class heard it. The kids now start thinking you're actually sitting there and reading every single one of their journals. They're going to be like, Miss, you remembered that? I wrote that? I did that? Yeah, you did. It was the journal that we did 2 weeks ago on whatever. Remember, the question was this and you said this and that. And you just read it like 30 minutes ago and you just picked a random student's journal. So every now and then, and that doesn't have to be a daily thing either. Just do it on like a Thursday or a random Monday or whatever, just to keep them thinking that you're sitting there and reading them. Because that would have kids be like, Miss, you're actually reading all of our journals, like all of them. Yeah, you better start like actually paying attention to your grammar because yeah. We need to talk about that. And then you go in, you read their journal because they probably weren't barely paying attention to it or doing it. And you're going to see that difference little by little, right? Anyways, guys, we are at 9 minutes. I hope you've been listening. I hope you've been liking these tips. I will make a part 2. So tips for New Year teachers. And I feel like, honestly, no matter where you're at in your career, you could implement these tips. So I do have more. Like I said, I got to like number 3. So listen and be on the lookout for video number 2. But if you like my tips, if you have points, ideas, topics, go ahead and comment them. And my veteran teachers, go ahead and tell us, what tips do you have for the first year teachers? And by the way, if you want a TRS review, feel free to set up a chat with me using my link.